Hello and welcome to StantonMD. I'm Dr. Ryan Stanton, board certified emergency physician, and this is my work home. We're currently standing in the emergency department here at Baptist Health in Lexington. In this department and departments around the country, we're the front line of stabilization and diagnostic care for emergent conditions. In our hospitals, whether it's heart attacks, strokes, trauma, babies on the way, or simple cuts, bumps, and bruises, we see it all. In fact, with over a decade in the ED, I would venture to say that I've seen about everything. But as soon as I do, someone will prove me wrong. We never know what we're going to see, thus every day is a new adventure. During that time, we have had endless conversations on if only, or that could have been prevented. And that's the goal here of StantonMD. Every month we will bring you tools, interviews, and information that will hopefully keep you safe, healthy, and out of the ED. I hope you will make this part of your schedule to tune in to StantonMD on the first Saturday of every month at 7 a.m. right here on ABC 36. Today I want to start with a story about a board-certified radiation oncologist that not only spends his days battling cancer, but also has a set of unique hobbies and goals that will help drive the future of cancer care and research in our region. Dr. Jonathan Fedek started his days early and doesn't turn in until quite late. If you're looking for him and he isn't in the office, he'll be with his family or training hard for his next Ironman triathlon. Dr. Fedek never thought that his love of exercise would help raise money for his patients. But it is, and he's really good at it. I spent a day with Dr. Fedek to see what it takes to battle cancer and train for ironcology. I'm Dr. Ryan Stanton here at the Marquis Cancer Center, and this may be the middle of the day, and Dr. Fedek looks very professional, ready to treat his patients, but the day started much earlier. It started about 4:15 this morning when he got up to get in shape for ironcology.
Persuaded me to help him.
Well into his morning workout, I decided to ask Dr. Fedek, what exactly is ironcology?
So ironcology is a concept I came up with a couple of years ago, where what I was trying to do is combine my hobby, which is racing Ironman triathlons, with fundraising for the Marquis Cancer Center. We're specifically trying to improve some of the treatments I provide, and I work as an oncologist. So I just combined them, so ironcology was that blend. As we keep going, I've now raised about $250,000, all of which goes to the Marquis Cancer Foundation, primarily devoted to patient care.
This type of dedication takes commitment. So what exactly does the exercise and training schedule look like for an actively working board-certified radiation oncologist who participates in triathlons?
I get up pretty early. Most days I'm up at 4 or 4:15. I get in a pretty decent workout in the morning. I finish by 6 a.m. just before my kids wake up. Go to work throughout the day, usually leave at about 5:30, 6 o'clock. Spend a couple hours with the kids, and then once they go to bed, it's usually another hour, hour and a half in the late evening before I go to bed. I got up today at 4 a.m. It's now 5:30. I've been on the bike an hour 15.
The big question is the level of success. How successful has ironcology been in raising money for cancer care?
The very first project that I fundraised for was trying to build a whole new radiation therapy treatment suite. That would be kind of a combined treatment room, primarily allowing us to perform really complex radiation implants. We've been fairly successful. In 2014, my first race was Ironman Louisville, where I raced as the final starter and raised money per person that I passed. In the first race, I raised $54,000. Our original goal, honestly, was pretty modest, just 15 or 20. I think the long-term goal, we thought we could maybe raise 50,000. But before the end of that year, I had ended up raising 141,000. And as we keep going, I've now raised about $250,000.
Dr. Fedek says that current treatments are making advances, but the future may lie in our own immune system.
The current trend with cancer treatment, at least, is really starting to explore immunotherapy. Or if we can't necessarily find a cure with the chemotherapy agents, or is there no such thing as a right chemo combination, it's trying to look at, well, what can we do to enable the body itself to start fighting cancer? So a lot of the newer treatments that I think we're going to be seeing very soon, maybe even as early as in the next 2 to 3 years, are going to be focusing on activating the immune response to actually start fighting the cancer, so that maybe in that situation when we go back and use our conventional chemo drugs, some of our surgeries and radiation will actually have a higher chance of curing these patients.
To get an idea of the treatments, I joined Dr. Fedek at his office at the Markey Cancer Center to see some of the tools that he uses to help battle cancer.
Right now we're in the ground floor of the Markey Cancer Center Roach building. This is one of our treatment units, or a linear accelerator that we primarily use for treating pretty much any head and neck, lung, prostate, pretty much any main type of cancer that is a standard treatment we use on this unit.
So exactly how does this technology work to target cancer cells and treat patients?
Basically what it does is it takes the electric current out of the wall, the same electrical outlet that you would use to power a TV, and it uses it to, in a long roundabout process, to create its own radiation by raising that electric current very high to several million volts and then converting that into radiation. This is something that you cannot see, smell, hear, feel, or taste. The radiation enters kind of in a focal pathway, just like a laser beam would be if you had a laser pointer. It enters that part of the body and it's able to interact with water, and in the process of interacting with water, it actually generates free radicals that tends to damage the cells in its pathway. Now, one of the unique things that allows radiation to be very effective at treating cancer is that most of the damage that happens from radiation to our normal cells, they're able to repair it. Whereas most of the damage that's caused to cancer cells, they're not able to repair the majority of that damage.
One of the bigger questions is, how do you protect sensitive tissues, those tissues that are normal that we want to save and protect that lie around cancerous cells?
So for example, if you want to treat a tumor that's next to, like my hand, and avoid something that's next to it, well, you use all of these beam angles and not the ones that would otherwise pass through what you're trying to avoid, or the opposite way. And by dividing a treatment up into, say, 15 different beam angles instead of 2, we're actually able to relatively spare normal structures that are adjacent to a cancer.
Dr. Fedek has done some really strong work, but how does ironcology shift the paradigm of fundraising in medical treatment?
So indirectly, I've kind of opened the door, I think, for physician engagement as well as requesting help from the patients that we actually treat. You know, one of the most unique things that ironcology created, or at least brought to light here, was this concept of crowdfunding, and that it really is a very successful method of gathering donations. You know, the original idea I had with ironcology was just to raise a little bit of money that I could then go to some very large potential donors and ask for large amounts. When in turn what ended up happening was I raised all the money I did off of small donations.
Ironcology brings together a great mix of medicine and desire to help patients through an interest in exercise. Dr. Jonathan Fedek and his wife Shannon work tirelessly for their patients to help them get better, feel better, and advance cancer treatment. I'm Dr. Ryan Stanton, and this has been a Tools of the Trade. As you can see, Dr. Fedek is committed to his patients in fighting the disease that sees on a daily basis. He is currently training for the upcoming role for the cure and his first annual Ironcology Survive the Night Triathlon. Both of those come up in June, and if you want more information on how he is racing for better cancer care, check out his website at ironcology.org. We'll also have a link to his site available on our site at StantonMD.com, and in fact, you might as well bookmark that on your computer because it will be constantly updated with segments, stories, interviews, and information you need for a healthier and safer life.
As a board-certified emergency physician, Dr. Stanton is a proud member of the American College of Emergency Physicians, also known as ACEP. ACEP provides physician and evidence-based patient resources at its consumer website, emergencycare4u.org. That site has stories, fact sheets, and advice on a wide range of emergency topics. From visiting the ER to mom tips, you can find them on emergencycare4u.org. Now, back to the show.
Training in a large academic medical center, gun-related injuries are a frequent emergency. Even community EDs and rural settings will face a gunshot victim on occasion. Guns are a hot topic, and no matter what side of the debate you fall, we can all agree that gun safety is very important. If you choose to own guns or may have them around other homes or your home, you need to know the steps to keep yourself and family safe. It's a simple fact that many gun-related injuries are accidents, especially in small children. With that in mind, I visited Richmond, Kentucky to spend an afternoon with Travis Bowles of Tactical Carry Training. He put me through my paces and helped me walk through some of the important techniques and tools that will decrease the risks of firearms in and around the home. I'm Dr. Ryan Stanton for Tools of the Trade, and I'm here in the beautiful rural areas of central Kentucky to talk about gun safety. Unfortunately, about 1,000 people die every year from accidents associated with guns. Even more frightening, about 10% of those are among kids under age 6. So today, I'm joined by Travis Bowles with Tactical Carry Training, who's going to talk with us about gun safety. Gun ownership is a huge responsibility, and the first step is the purchase. So what do you look for?
Get some education on the weapon, its many uses, its advantages and disadvantages before you ever buy it. Once you get the weapon, then seek training on how to use it. And then after that, keep on training to where you can use the weapon properly and safely.
I need to put that in my back pocket so it didn't look like I had a... And with training, Bowles notes that it's not just the buyer that needs education.
Regardless of the age, they need to be educated on the weapon, all the way down to the smallest children, and even adults need to be re-educated from time to time because some of their skills with firearm will diminish.
The key to prevention is training and safety equipment. There are several options out there to protect your weapon in the home.
By far, the most safe and secure means of having a firearm would be to keep it unloaded, keep it in a safe, locked away. But when you think about access, you want to have quick access to the weapon, so the far other extreme would be to have it loaded and ready, which is very impractical around children or anyone uneducated about the weapon. So you have to find a happy medium in your home, what fits for you in your situation, which most of the time involves some type of lock or some type of gun safe that you can make access to it fairly quick, but it still keeps the weapon loaded and secure.
In the end, it's all about the right weapon, proper training, and vigilant security that will prevent unnecessary firearm injuries and deaths. So, if you're a gun owner or have guns around the home, it's your responsibility to make sure that you have the proper training and the proper safety measures to keep you, your family, and those around you safe. I'm Dr. Ryan Stanton, and this has been some Tools of the Trade. Gun ownership isn't for everyone, but if you are a gun owner or you're looking to buy one, Travis wants everyone to know that proper and recurrent training, as well as safety equipment, are the best ways to promote firearm safety in the home. You can find out more information about Tactical Carry Training at tacticalcarrytraining.com. They have frequent safety classes, and they're always happy to help you through the process before, during, and after the purchase of a firearm. If you're a parent like me and your kids are school age, you have probably seen that dreaded lice letter from the school. What's worse is when that letter is to alert you that your child is the one with lice. I'm not sure of any parent that doesn't get a little bit squeamish with the idea of bugs living in the kid's hair. The good news, though, is that help is out there. Lice may be nasty, but they are treatable. In that case, you have to know who to call, and it's not the Ghostbusters. It's the Knit Nanny. Betsy Harrington is her name, and the Knit Nanny is her game. She brings to bear the most up-to-date and safest lice treatment on the market. I talked with Betsy about the challenges of lice care and what you have to do to rid junior scalp of this classroom pest. I'm Dr. Ryan Stanton for Tools of the Trade, and lice is an all too common affliction for young children throughout the United States. And today I want to talk about one of the solutions for knit infestations, and that's the Knit Nanny, Betsy Harrington. She spends her days traveling around central Kentucky assisting the masses with the eradication of head lice infestations. So, how common are head lice?
There are approximately 6 to 12 million cases of head lice in children the ages of, I believe, 3 to 11 in the course of the year in the United States.
First questions you may ask is, what are head lice?
Head lice are just human parasites. They are just a parasite that affects human beings. They like to live on your close to your scalp.
These cases are most commonly seen in children, but there can be cases in people of all ages. The highest risk are children of school age and their families. Basically, this is a social infestation associated with close contact with others. Girls are more at risk than boys, and finally, some good news for the bald out there: less hair means less risk. The key is detecting lice early. So what are the things you're looking for to detect lice?
A lot of people think that they're looking for something white. They think they're looking for a little white nit, or they're looking for a little white bug, but in reality you're looking for something that's brown. So the bug itself is rather brown, and the nit is brown, which is really super hard to tell if you are looking at a child who has brown hair or darker colored hair.
The biggest question is not that you have lice, but more importantly, how do you get rid of them?
Mine is more not so much killing the bug as it is removing the nit, which is the next generation of lice. So there are pediculicides that will actually kill a bug in most cases. Some have become resistant to pediculicides, which is why my form of treatment is a little bit different.
The Knit Nanny's treatment takes about 2 weeks, and she can provide the service or help guide you through the process. Betsy says that the initial treatment removes over 99% of the infestation, and the repeat treatment is basically to clean up the rest.
Oftentimes, if one person has it, others will as well. And so if we take care of everybody at one time, it takes care of the issue immediately.
So when you're faced the emergency of the day, when you get that letter from the school that says your child has a nit infestation, you may want to give the Knit Nanny a call and help resolve a pesky situation. I'm Dr. Ryan Stanton, and this has been some Tools of the Trade. If you haven't faced off against lice before, it may be best to get help from a professional. Even though lice are a relatively benign little bug that is treatable, getting rid of them isn't common sense. Without the proper tools and know-how, lice can be an ongoing and frustrating issue. You can get more information on the Knit Nanny at knitnanny.net. More StantonMD coming up right after this.
Do you own or work for a business that advances health and safety of the public or its employees? Then you may be interested in becoming a sponsor of StantonMD. There are various opportunities for sponsorship, from the show to the website, social media, print, or a combination. For more information on becoming part of StantonMD, contact Jen at info@stantonmd.com. That's info@stantonmd.com. Now, back to the show.
Welcome back to StantonMD. On January 30th, 2016, fire ripped through the Bluegrass Stockyard in Lexington. Hundreds of firefighters and other agencies battled one of the largest fires in Kentucky history. During the hours of the fire, 7 acres of stockyard and businesses burned. The firefighters that responded to the scene had the most up-to-date gear to help battle the flames and keep them safe. But that only lessens the risk that these men and women face on a daily basis. A few days after the fire, we went to the scene and talked to firefighters about the risks and tools that help keep them safe during the fire. But we also learned that some of those tools have risks of their own. I'm Dr. Ryan Stanton with Tools of the Trade. Once again, here in the middle of the Bluegrass Stockyard, a scene of utter destruction, cars burnt everywhere. And today we're going to look at some of the things that keep these men and women safe and some of the challenges they face when they face a large fire. With firefighting, heat is the most obvious threat, but there are other risk exposures as well.
You've got smoke inhalation, you got the gases that are given off from the fire, which CO, cyanide, or any other type of carcinogenic reaction to smoke. And so a lot of bodily exposures as well.
What do we do for these men and women when they come on these scenes to help protect them?
Well, we've got our protective gear that we wear that's supposed to stop most things, but as we're finding out as well, we're also absorbing these gases and carcinogens with the soot. And but we also have our pressurized tanks, which we breathe in pressurized air, and so it keeps us from inhaling through our lungs. And obviously our hoods and our entire bodies are covered with the proper gear to keep us safe as much as possible.
As technology advances, some risks may be abated, but others may increase.
Advancing technology-wise, years beyond what it used to be 30 years ago, 10 years ago even, and we're able to go deeper and into fires. And the good thing is we're able to put them out sooner, hopefully. But the bad thing is we're exposed to those immense heat and may put us in more danger of trying to get out.
Emergency workers aren't the only ones at risk. The public is also exposed to chemicals and threats to their health. If there is a fire nearby, what should you do to increase safety and decrease risk?
It's not a safe atmosphere, and it's not a safe area, and you need to move away into a safe area and away from the travel of the smoke.
For most of us, the adage says that we put our pants on one leg at a time, but in the fire service, proper attire is the difference between life and death. Now we're arriving to the scene. Huge fire, 7 to 8 acres, cars involved, power lines involved, all heck's breaking loose. First challenge is going to be the heat. How do we deal with the heat?
Well, prior to that, any run that we get involving fire, we automatically put all our gear on. It's going to consist of the jacket, which has the outer liner, and you've got an inner water liner also to protect. This is Kevlar. You've got your boots. You've got your Nomex hood also to put on. We've got our boots, and the pants are the same way, lined outside in that. Also too, we've got it mounted inside our truck. We've got an SCBA. That's actually going to help us with the superheated airs breathing in, not only the smoke, just the fact without destroying our lungs. So we're going to fast forward, and Firefighter Brown is magically dressed in all his gear. As you can see, he's got his gloves, flashlight, we've got our hood, got everything in here tight.
So how much are we talking about in terms of, we're going into a fire, house fire, a fire like this, how much weight are we talking about that we're lugging through all the scenes?
60 pounds with just about the gear on here. When we start carrying extra tools, we're looking at up to over 100 pounds that we're carrying extra on top of us.
Protective clothing is just the tip of the iceberg for risk facing the firefighters. Next week we will talk about some of the other challenges and tools the firefighters use to stay safe. Every day, men and women across this country stand ready to fight fires like this one. They may not be as large as the Bluegrass Stockyard fire, but nonetheless the challenges are there and they stand ready for our time of need. I'm Dr. Ryan Stanton, and this has been a Tools of the Trade. The world has two types of people, those that run from danger and those that run towards it in hopes of helping others. Our hats are off to all the first responders that risk their lives to help keep us safe. On top of the risks that we discussed in this segment, firefighters also have a research-proven higher than baseline cancer risk. Firefighters are currently not covered for occupational-related cancers here in Kentucky. A bill is currently in the legislature that will hopefully address that. More information is available about the Lexington Fire Department at lexingtonky.gov under the Division of Fire and Emergency Services tab. Once again, we thank all the first responders out there for your service. I'm here with firefighter Gert, and we're going to talk about hands-only CPR. It's, over time we've heard about everybody needs to know CPR, and it is the one thing that you can do to help save a life. It's going to take several minutes for the ambulances to get there, several minutes from there to even get to the emergency room. So the likelihood of somebody surviving is going to be dependent if somebody goes down, starting CPR, knowing what to do in order to wait for those guys to get there so they can continue from there. So firefighter Gerton, thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having us.
Okay, so we're coming upon a scene. Somebody collapses down. What are the first things you're going to do?
First thing we want to do is make sure the scene is safe. We're not sure how this person has ended up in the position they are. Once the scene is safe, then if they are unresponsive, we want to start hands-only CPR. It's a big push with hands-only CPR.
How is that different than the traditional CPR that we've seen?
The traditional CPR is you would do the compressions and then you would follow it with the mouth-to-mouth portion of it. And we understand that a lot of people just don't want to do the mouth-to-mouth portion of it.
The creep factor there with putting your mouth on somebody's mouth. And what we found with the research is that for the first 5 minutes of CPR, the circulation of air and the perfusion of the brain and the vital organs is equivalent with hands-only CPR as with hands-only CPR and with the breathing. So you're not shortchanging somebody. In fact, you're increasing their likelihood of survival, one, because you're doing the procedure, but two, also you're continuing that blood flow and oxygen circulation through the brain and vital organs. So how do people do hands-only CPR?
It's a real simple process. Like you said, if you're moving blood, you're moving oxygen. We want to push hard and fast. You want the lower breastbone of the chest. You want to lock your hands and you want to push hard and fast. 100. You want to do 100 per minute, 2 inches deep.
So with 100 beats per minute, how is somebody going to know 100 beats per minute? Because what we find is that when people try 100 beats per minute in a stressful situation, it turns up being 200 beats a minute. Or they overkill on the other side and they go 40 beats a minute. And how are people going to think about 100 beats per minute?
One of the things that we like to use when we educate the public is the Staying Alive beat. It's any song.
So the old disco tune.
The old disco tune. Anything that's got 100 beats per minute. that's a good way of assisting you when you're doing your compressions.
So what you can find is that you can look up or you can download Staying Alive as the tune that's actually available there, or you can look up any other song that's 100 beats per minute. In fact, I've Googled it in the past, and there's several songs they have listed. So if you're not a disco fan, you can find whatever song you want that it can help out. The key here is to practice to make sure you know how to do it. We don't want to have anything other than the palm of the hand pushing onto the chest. You want to make sure that you're pushing hard enough. That's key. We got to get that compression of the heart as well. So in review of this, we want to make sure the scene is safe. Make sure there's no power lines, things around, things that could be a harm to you. The only thing worse than one victim is two victims. The other things to do, activating 911, getting help there. Third, initiating CPR. That's 100 beats per minute, hard, fast, good, high quality CPR. All right, Firefighter Gurton, thank you very much. I appreciate your time.
Thank you, Doc.
Stay safe out there. This has been some tools of the trade right here, learning some hands-only CPR.
Hi, I'm Firefighter Kyle Brandon with the Lexington Fire Department. If you would like more information or would like to have a class or us to come out to your business, just call me at 859-231-5618 and we'll set up a hands-only event for you or your business.
Each month we'll take some time to give you 5 or so tips for better, healthier living. This month we have 5 things you can do to be prepared for emergencies and major illnesses. It's a simple fact that none of us are planning for an emergency, but there are steps you can take to help prepare for the unexpected. First, get some ICE. This stands for in case of emergency and is the key data that emergency workers need if you're unable to communicate. Smartphones provide the perfect solution, allowing this data to be added to the home screen or emergency contacts of your phone. Next, you want to establish advanced directives. This is the document establishing your wishes for your care if you become unable to speak for yourself. This concludes code status, resuscitation, and who can help make medical decisions. Once this is in place, inform your family, those that will make decisions and need to know your wishes. You'll also need to let them know any important information and where important documents are kept in the home. To do this, you need some organization. Keep your paperwork in one location where it can be found. Family or loved ones need to know where this is, and it needs to be labeled for quick and easy reference. Finally, you need to get a primary care doctor and at least see them once a year. A good primary doctor can help guide you through the stages of health and, more importantly, can provide preventive care. So take some time to establish these 5 steps so that you're well prepared in case of emergency. That's a wrap for episode 1 of StantonMD. I'm your host, Dr. Ryan Stanton, and I hope you will join me the first Saturday of every month at 7 a.m. as we bring you the tools and information that will help keep you healthy and safe. If you want more information about the show, you can check us out at StantonMD.com. That's StantonMD.com. Also invite your comments and suggestions about the show to Ryan@StantonMD.com. Until next month, I'm Dr. Ryan Stanton. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay informed with Stanton MD.